If you walk into almost any modern office or factory, the invisible blueprint running the place is actually over 100 years old. We are still leaning heavily on 19th century ideas of industrial efficiency, where endurance is the ultimate metric, and being unemotional is directly equated with being strong. Over decades, enduring excessive hours and extreme stress has been culturally weaponized. For a certain demographic of traditional leaders, pushing past physical and mental limits isn't viewed as a systemic failure. Instead, burnout is worn proudly as a badge of honor. In this always-on environment, basic human needs become social liabilities. Taking a sick day is dismissed by peers as a luxury, and there remains a heavy stigma around speaking up about mental health, treating it as an admission of weakness. Applying unrelenting pressure to a modern workforce causes immediate structural damage. When outdated expectations grind against complex human systems, the entire mechanism fractures. We assume this hardened approach makes a company highly efficient. The reality is that these organizations suffer from immense operational friction, continuously bleeding talent and slowing down execution. We have to ask if our historical definition of toughness is actually the exact force breaking the systems we are trying to optimize. The justification for this rigidity usually starts with a financial illusion. Many leaders believe that stripping away health and safety protocols directly maximizes the bottom line by avoiding upfront costs and squeezing maximum output from labor. This outlines the traditional productivity calculation: low upfront costs plus maximum labor hours equals maximum profit. But factoring in workplace reality, the equation expands and glitches. Red data points populate, representing hidden health and safety costs that grow until they dwarf the original profit. Employers typically underestimate these hidden problems and deliberately overestimate the costs of fixing them. Clinging to an exaggerated cost for health and safety remedies provides a highly measurable, simplistic view of the world, allowing leadership to ignore messy, complex human factors. Aggressive, across-the-board cost-cutting and driving labor harder eventually backfires. It creates a siege mentality among the staff, which directly destroys work quality and chokes out any chance of innovation. Hoarding short-term capital through these methods effectively trades immediate liquidity for catastrophic long-term debt. The resistance to modernizing the workplace isn't actually about the corporate wallet. The real barrier is deeply psychological, rooted entirely in protecting leadership egos. Think about the sunk cost fallacy. If a manager sacrificed their personal life and endured years of high stress to reach the top, acknowledging the necessity of health and safety means confronting a painful truth. They must admit that their past suffering was entirely unnecessary, or worse, actively harmful. There is also a powerful dynamic of social belonging at play. Aligning with an unemotional, tough ethos secures a leader's status within their traditional hierarchy, preventing them from being ostracized by their peers as weak. Issuing cold, unemotional directives from a distance acts as a shield. It protects leaders from the deeply uncomfortable, vulnerable work of asking a subordinate what they are struggling with and taking responsibility for managing complex human emotions. When leadership pushes a workforce to be hard, the physical and cognitive toll is severe. Beyond severe anxiety and musculoskeletal disorders, the extreme chronic stress interferes with accurate recall, leading to the formation of false memories. What appears to be steadfast traditional leadership is, in reality, a fragile psychological defense mechanism, one that actively breaks the workforce it claims to be optimizing. Evolving past this model requires immediate social and emotional sacrifices. A leader must forfeit their membership in the old school club and abandon the familiar comfort of rigid black and white thinking. They also have to make tangible financial sacrifices up front. Fostering a genuinely safe workplace demands heavy initial investments in better equipment, additional staff, and providing structured recovery time between shifts. This dynamic bar chart shows the undeniable long-term data invalidating the old model. For every single dollar initially spent on mental health interventions, organizations see a cascading return of $5 in long-term yield. Choosing this path means trading the outdated immediate gratification of hoarding initial capital for the proven, far superior strategy of long-term human investment. Modern, gritty work requires the continuous, heavy management of empathy, vulnerability, and active listening. Rigid stoicism cannot adapt to real-world pressure. It simply fails. violently shattering under the weight of unexpected challenges. Treating rigid toughness as a strength often hides significant organizational risks, whereas building psychological safety serves as the foundation for actual resilience.